Ladies and gentlemen, Penduka's in the building. Tibbles here, Ghost Lady's back. Doomy's here, Dudu's here, Shots is here, Tato's here, Newo's here, Fat Checkers here, Simpiwa's here, and make some noise for our guest back by popular demand, Mustafa.
Yes. You know, that felt like you starting a government meeting. Everyone observed protocol. We went around the room.
Leadership.
Yeah.
Last time we were with you was the Alibaba situation.
Alibaba.
Abu You got a raw deal, man.
You ended up being the host that day because I got personal, I got emotional. You ended up being the host.
Yeah.
Oh, so awkward. Everyone in the street's like, yeah, hey,
how was the feedback your side?
No, it was awesome, dude. I think a lot of people really, appreciated the overall angles that we all took, because it's almost like we looked at different parts of what people were actually thinking about with regards to the thing themselves. So a lot of people were like, yeah, man, hey, I'm worried about the kids. And other people were like, yeah, who is this guy? Other people were like, why is Russia, whatnot? So everybody had different aspects of what they want to know about the thing. And they felt like we'd covered a lot of it. Because after that, the thing had basically died.
Yes.
Yeah.
We did our job, except the journalist. I don't know why she was there.
Shame, man. And then everyone find out we waited for her. She was the latest to arrive because she was getting her hair green. She was getting her green hair fixed. And then she came in a green matching outfit. Matching top. Yeah, the journalist. I think she's reflected. I'm pretty sure they gave her, like, people have told her that. No. Hey, watch. Did you know he's been getting up to? Whoa. Yeah, no, but she was the most ill-prepared. And I think she probably reflected on that, because even me, we all like had the basic facts, you know, and the background, and you trust the journalist to bring that, those facts. You brought them, you're not even a journalist, but you're a guy generally with data and information. So I think she knows, man. It's no joke.
It was awkward.
I want to chat about, you dropped yesterday a video. I love your videos, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, the best, bro.
Thanks, bro.
You dropped influencers being taxed in SA.
Yes.
Please tell us more about that, bro.
Hey, bro.
Man.
It's so what's actually happening is that government through SARS have looked at what in the ether of what can be taxed in the country, right? And what is missing. So they think that there's R500 billion of money that is going missing in the country, not being taxed. So as part of that R500 billion, the 500 billion.
500 billion?
Yes, that can still be taxed and put into the fiscus. So because of that, they've started to now micro-target in different sectors. One of those sectors is the digital economy. Why this is important? Remember, when it was a newspaper publication, that money was clearly taxed. The Star, whoever, City Press, etc., those guys would pay their tax because they were getting a lot of revenue from companies wanting to advertise on newspapers. What has subsequently happened is that digital has taken a lot of money away from newspapers specifically. A little bit from radio. We know how radio things have also gone, but primarily from newspapers. That money is now sitting in the digital billboard, which is us. Now, government is saying, we are missing money here from a particular sector. Where has it gone? It has gone into digital. So now they're saying, well, who in digital is making this money? Because the companies who dish out the contracts and the campaigns, they say, Tina, we can mark this off as an expense because we used contractors to deliver the product. Okay, are the contractors paying? Because remember, that money is still not going to Gov. So Gov is saying, and then it's sitting with influencers. So as part of things like crypto, it's not just influencers, it's going to be the crypto guys. It's going to be other Forex guys. It's going to be anybody who's doing things that were not necessarily primary to what Gov was and were not voluntary, but they were mandatory that you do it, but government wasn't focusing on it because maybe that revenue was not substantial enough. So that's what's happening. So they're looking at influencers and they're saying, you guys are now clearing as a group, as a unit, you're clearing a sizable amount of money every year, and we're not seeing the returns as Gov from that tax revenue. Taxable revenue, yeah.
And what are the nuances like? So even if you like get gifting, for example.
So that's the big thing. So and I'm sure you guys have also done this, where a company will come to you and say, look, we can pay you 80,000 Rand, right? Yeah. And you say, nah, guys, actually, this thing is going to be, it's actually worth 150.
Yeah.
Then they say, okay, can we give you maybe a car for 3 months at this rate?
Yeah.
Can
like
we,
a trade exchange.
like a proper tangible thing? Can we give you the phone after you review it? So don't send it back. But the phone is worth like 25. You understand? That speaker, that sound system, I was talking to another influencer, I won't say his name. We're at the YouTube summit thing. And he's like, I'm laughing at him. I'm like, dude, I've seen on one of your vlogs, you're on like 5 TVs now. He literally in his apartment has 5 TVs. Now, Gav is saying, the value of that television, if that TV is a Mang what, Ultra HD, 100-inch, what, will you need to pay us for a portion of that?
Hey, man.
Wait, man.
Yeah, baba.
But I'm not selling the TV, so I got the TVs worth 100K. But I must take my own money now.
You were remunerated in cash and in kind through a trade exchange, and the total value of this thing is not what you have put here. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that there is a monetary value, because there is. Yes, sharply, this guy's not using a TV, but if it was any other person who had just gotten a TV, you're getting an economic use out of that TV, but you didn't pay for it, and you need to be taxed for it. It's like how people in corporate will say, I can claim back kilometers that I drove for work. I can claim these things. It's a similar thing. You're basically taking something and you're not paying for it. If you got a tablet, if you got something else as part of the deal of you influencing, even makeup, even blush, even if they give you a Fenty pack that's worth 5K, you have to say, they paid me 25 and a 5K pack, so that was 30K. You understand? But a lot of influencers are getting one thing wrong. And I thought everyone was doing this in influencing until I spoke to a couple of guys at this YouTube thing. A lot of guys don't have small businesses, so they're not able to show, to balance off the work that they do and the revenue that comes from that work versus what it costs to get the work done.
Yeah, it all goes into their personal accounts.
And that's a problem. It's like that guy. Who was that guy that took like 70 million, 170 million during COVID, man, with the many cars? That guy.
Oh, Hamilton.
He moved money through a personal account. You know, hundreds of millions. Like, Hybo, chief.
Don't do that.
Wait,
that's
man, no, that's impossible. Wasn't he getting government tenders? You can't apply for a tender with your personal bank account.
No, Boichi.
You need to be an...
Boichi, layer 2 was
Boichi.
that...
Which one is that one?
Boichi. No, I'm saying Boichi.
Boichi, which one now?
So what he was doing... So
they just have nice ways of calling you like, Mfana. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
So I went to those schools.
No, it's a rugby term.
Yeah,
it's like dude, like, bro, come on, but boy,
it's a term of
endearment. Come on, boy, let's go. Yeah, it's a rugby
term of endearment. Yeah,
drink up the water.
So, So layer 1 is I get money in, right, as a business. Layer 2 is how do I get the money to myself?
Oh, transfer.
So remember, he was using multiple things, so he was then sending money. He has to send it to a central point, so he doesn't send it business to business. Some of these transactions are going to his personal, and that's when SARS goes, "I lula the case," because you're meant to, whatever goes into your personal account, sharp, you've got to say, SARS like, 40% scock. I saw 40%.
Even from your own business.
No.
That was already taxed.
No. What comes to yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
If it comes to you, that's personal usage. So you get taxed on that. Whatever's left in the business, post its operational expenses and what it's done, they will take 28, 27. You can fact check me on that. They will take that. So he was moving amounts so large into personal accounts that he owned. So now that's how things up at SARS. So same thing with influencers. If you move a lot of money into your personal account, bro, 40% of that obviously relative to where you fall in terms of your brackets, your tax brackets. But if you are a decent influencer who's making like a bar plus, hey bro, you 40% minimum is going.
So the smart way is to
open a company, corporatize yourself as a small business, so that the money you spend to go to the event, you can minus and say, I took Ubers.
Yeah.
I did this. I bought a lens. I did this. I did that. I did this. Minus it from my taxable income.
Yeah.
So that you are able to say, guys, it was $1 million that came in. in revenue. But actually, the taxable income is only 250K.
Danko.
So then they will only take from that on a scale for your business.
And then you pay
'Cause you
yourself
could-
a salary.
100%. Then off that salary, you then pay your tax.
Yeah. And if it's not just influencers, even DJs. Some DJs don't have business accounts. The gig money goes into their personal accounts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We've heard of DJs who, Devon July weekend, it's like, my rate is 20, but you know what? Nigga, 10 in cash when I get there, then 10 put into my account.
Yeah.
wow.
Then they come back and they fly in charter jets back with the money. Because
Yeah.
they've done like 15, 20 gigs that week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fact checker, you had your hand up?
No, he was asking for the correct percentage that businesses get taxed. A standard company tax is 27%.
Yeah. 27.
Yeah.
So that's what you'll ultimately pay after all of the deductions of your expenses and everything as an influencer. So all influencers need to start seeing themselves as proper businesses because you are a business.
Yeah.
Your manager, your bookings manager or the PR manager that you work with, everybody, you can actually expense those from the amount of money that you get, your equipment that you use, the data that you use. If you shoot at home, you could, obviously within reason, this is not financial advice, within reason, you can actually work out with a qualified authorized tax practitioner. If you use and shoot at home, you could actually, this is going to be controversial for a lot of people, and I'm going to see in the comments people, but you can actually minus some of your rent from that because you shoot
Oh,
at home.
yes.
So all of these things work if you register a business, keep it in good standing, and let the money from campaigns go in there, and then what you expense comes out of that so that your taxable income is less, because then you're able to show SARS, this is what's come in, but I've used this in the operations of myself as an influencer business.
Your thoughts, Ghost Lady?
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Because I think that was my question was about the influencers. How are they going to be taxed? Exactly the breakdown. So I think you've explained it very well.
So it's tough it's tough if you're going to be, for all of the people now that for maybe 2 to 3 years, you've been getting like a couple M's into your things. Yo, you got a problem.
Yeah.
You better go volunteer yourself to start. No, but I'm joking. It's not that serious. But voluntary declaration is so important for people, guys.
The honesty of it is that we don't know how SARS works.
SARS doesn't want to take you to jail. They want money. So it's a good way to operate. Bafuna imali abantu. So let me go there and genuinely speak to them and say, guys, this is the problem that I have.
Yeah.
I didn't know this. Then SARS says, let's work to fix it. Then if you have to start paying back 20K, 30K a month, you can then make that
an
arrangement.
Yeah.
And then you are fine. Then you never have to be in Sunday world.
Yeah. Or even have a telephone, like I know you can have a telephone conversation with them. Like you can call them.
Yeah.
And they will explain it to you as well. So there's
But
many
people-
ways to actually get in contact
100%,
with them.
but rather go in and sit in front of somebody with your information, with a tax practitioner, if that person can come with you, and you talk to SARS properly, slowly. You detail things. You say, then they'll say to you, okay, going forward, fix this, fix that. Even for the crypto bros, they're in for it, right? All of this back and forth of monies that's been going up and down for crypto bros. They've got to declare now what they've been. And remember, SARS can backdate, guys. I was audited for like something that happened when I was still at White, like 2015. They were like, don't know what happened that year. I said, yay! Luckily, I'd gone and gotten like IRP 5s for all of the things that were there. So then I took those things, I sent them back, but I said, okay, maybe 15K. We overtaxed, not to show boys.
Yeah.
So there are positive outcomes in some of these cases. So it's not all that you're going to be like, yo, this thing, SARS going to take millions. No. But if you've been getting substantial amounts of money, rather go, guys. Rather go.
What's your take, Pinduga? Do you agree with them taxing influencers?
I sort of do and I sort of don't also, man, because some of these guys, and I know that whatever you earn, you need to pay tax, but some of these guys, it's not like it's a monthly income, you know what I mean? Some of them will get one good bag a year.
So
you know, that they need to survive off of, but sadly,
So
you
true.
still need to pay that, you know? And for me, there's so many other pockets within the economy. It's also soft targets, and you won't get as much if you can effectively tax, for example, the taxi industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Directly, the income, not the other petrol and through all these other things. So,
So
it's fair, but it's also it's it's harsh, but it's fair. Everybody got to pay, man.
I've heard this argument, and it's tough, but I've got to make it also clear to people that this thing is about compliance. We've got to be generally compliant with our stuff. And the reason why this is important, if you got 1 or 2 bags in the year and you didn't even cross the threshold of being taxed, you're still fine, dude. Like you'll be fine. But if you had a full-time job and corporate and you got maybe 150 over the year on the side, even via YouTube, right? You have to, it now increases your taxable income in a personal capacity if it's not going into a business. Yeah. So now you go and you're making, let's say, 400K at, or 300, let's say just below the threshold of maybe 300 at your job, at my 9 to 5. But then social media now is chasing maybe 150 on the side, 2 or 3 bags throughout the year, right? Big ones. And then small ones, and then you add them, it's like 150. Yeah. Now your taxable income, personal taxable income goes to like close to 500K. Now you're getting hit at that rate.
Wow.
So, but if that was in a business and you were able to show what's going in, what's going out, maybe the extra goes down to like 50. And then Gov says, no, that business can get small business tax and maybe get exemption. Because they are for really small businesses within the first couple of years where they give you an exemption. Yeah. This is not financial advice.
Gotta make sure. All right, cool, man.
Yes.
Let's talk about day 9 of the Madlanga Commission. Our Goodmans are seeing flames, bro.
I'm a Jan. Okay.
Can you just break it down for us, for those who haven't been following the commission?
Yeah.
In terms of when it started, where we are now, what has unraveled, what should people be looking out for, and stuff like that.
So the Madlanga Commission is looking into criminality and other nefarious acts that have been happening in the South African police force. Obviously, this happened because the very astute KZN police head of police commissioner Mkhwanazi came and said to us in July, guys, there's some funky stuff going on at the cops. And it involves not just cops, but it involves people adjacent to cops, and it involves ministers. We're like, yo, Ndwana, what do you mean? Then he comes and says, I will give my evidence. I'll give my evidence in front of a commission, right? And then there's another adjacent conversation around some journals who are now saying there's no evidence. We'll get to that. So then it's fine. The commission starts. Surprisingly, it started very quickly. I must say, by South African terms, this thing is really being fast-tracked in South African terms.
They tried to delay it a bit.
Yeah, but they couldn't. So then the commission starts. And what's important to understand is that General Mkhwanazi took the stand at the commission. And he started to lay out the entire thing. A lot of people are saying, yeah, but where was the evidence? Where was the etc. from the onset? He was there to set the scene. He knows he's got a set amount of time where he could testify. So he had to set the entire scene and say, this is the entire animal. Because if you have been watching or touching onto the commission, other people have started to take parts of what he said and unpack it even further. Like Fani Masemula and other people, and Kumalo as well. So they are taking bits and pieces where they are opening up and saying, like, for instance, now the big revelation is that there's a big 5, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not wildlife, it's wild criminals. Mm. Like, that's what's now the big thing that but you know what got me thinking, guys, about the commissions particularly? I did a story around Mthatha and the extortion. Mm. And it was a big story at that time. And in that story, I started to make links around a lot of the killings that were happening in Mthatha because, rest in peace to UPK Dweba, he was one of the people that was, I think, caught in the crosshairs around this intersection of entertainment and criminality, right? Now, why this is important is because there are conversations around the same Hawks office that was broken into in the South Coast in KZN.
Recently, no?
No, it wasn't recent. It was a long time ago.
Where drug shipment went missing.
Recently,
Yeah, people have been talking about the story recently.
So now you're finding that the Hawks are certain figures within the Hawks are being implicated in this as well. That's why this is important, is that even for somewhere in Mthatha, which isn't really part and parcel of this thing that's hitting us now with the commission and all of these revelations that are coming out, there's microcosms of problems that happen in other provinces that you never knew or understood why this thing was a problem. You're like, hey man, this thing, suddenly everyone is doing like protection fees and tata. So random. People don't even really have money like that down there. But they are literally extorting businesses. But then people are saying, no, but this thing is connected to drugs. And then you can never really confirm it, right? Because it's not like you're in that world. So we then started to connect a lot of these things. And I made some insinuations in that. And I said, look, guys, I don't know if this thing is true or not, but I believe that there is a criminal and drug corridor that starts at the ports, down from Durban, all the way through Imtata. And now it's making its way down into the Eastern Cape, probably towards Cape Town. Because remember, the least path of resistance is what traffickers and these type of guys who are doing drug running and smuggling will take. So if a particular port is an easy point, they'll use that to go through. But then people have to distribute. They're like, hey, man, let's go through Mtata. There's whatnot. So you start finding, because it's so crazy when you hear someone say, no, there's kids addicted to like hard cocaine and drugs in Mtata. And you're like, Mtata. Like, there's not even that much cash for you to be like what type of life are you? That then does what? It degrades the social fabric of communities within those areas that are already struggling, and you don't know why. But now we know why. We're starting to get a bigger picture about what's going on in South Africa. That the problems that persist in problems. The fact that maybe there's a lot of hijackings in the Northwest and you don't know why. The fact that there's a lot of cars that get stolen and hijacked and moved through to the border via Mpumalanga and Bombela. You start to realize, no, man, this thing that's coming out from Kwanas is big, guys. It's massive. We can't take this thing with a pinch of salt. Inkulu and Denzagai. And it's starting to make us aware of the interconnectivity of this particular network. Because at the same time, there were people that were shot in Sandton, outside a gym in Sandton, at Sandton City. There were people that were shot out there. And there's a video evidence of that. In the same week, that's almost the same week that, is it Vintos?
Yeah. I know the killing. So the guy who got shot out at the Virgin Gym.
Yes.
It's Big Pablo.
Yes.
And then Vintos got shot.
Yes.
Citylized got shot.
Yes.
That happened within like 2 months,
Bro. So you have to understand that now we're starting to understand a lot more things about what was happening and why what was happening in your area. Now, think about it from this perspective. Obviously, we, at this point, don't know who the Big Five is. But you're probably going to find that a lot of these people are across the country, which starts to mean that there's a super network of people that have connected themselves and are saying, no, this is your domain. These two provinces, who push your lap. This province, you mean that one, it's you, etc. No, that's my province, bro. Because we do know that the Western Cape, and in particular Cape Town, is a haven for criminals. This is not disputed. We know this. And there were killings. Last year. Actually, it was. If you could just check, there's a huge boss who was killed last year.
Yeah, the white guy.
Yeah, the white guy.
Yeah.
He was killed. But at the same time, Stanfield, is it Ralph Stanfield?
Yeah, Stanfield.
He's also in a bit of hot bother. Nafis Modak is in a bit of bother.
He's gone to jail.
You start to see the puzzle start to fall in like Tetris. This thing is now becoming clear. And then the question becomes, what do we as South Africans take from this?
You got the guy?
Yeah.
His name is Mark
Liffman.
Liffman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mark Liffman. He's the guy who was taken out, I think, in a parking lot or whatever.
Yeah, in a shopping center.
100%.
Yeah.
So all of these things are now important. The question then becomes, what do we do as South Africans? Because we have very short memories. One thing I will say, and I've said this, why is all of this happening not in a court of law where there will be actual consequences afterwards? It's a question we've got to ask ourselves, because if you think about it, what changes, and maybe this is the legal up and down and back and forth around it, where it says, I mean, would then Mkwanazi and other witnesses have to come back again in a court of law and say the same things as they've said now? Or do they take that final report as actual evidence? Or you understand what I'm saying? It makes now the thing take another 2 years, 3 years possibly. You know how slow our courts are. They're underfunded, and we're now starting to understand that a lot of our courts, all the way from Mtata to up here in Joburg, there's money flowing through our courts that says, no, Saul's thing must take like another 3 months for him to get a date. And these are the things that are happening. So you understand that. Then the biggest question I have is the global links to this.
Wait, pause for a second. So when you say what's going to happen next, isn't the basis of a commission is that they file the report and then they give it to the president?
Yes.
And then he has to make a decision. Isn't that
100%?
Yeah.
But knowing how important this is and how important policing in this country is, crime intelligence, all of these things that South Africans cry about, and how crime is such a huge issue in South Africa, you would have wanted this thing to have some legal basis that is outside of the executive branch of South Africa.
okay?
Right? You would have wanted, even if you were to say, we're going to have the commission, but just across in the same sitting, we've got 3-4 judges who are taking statements. I don't know if that's possible legally. The lawyers will let us know if that's a thing, because it raises the stakes. Because you've got people like Paul O'Sullivan's who are speaking, right? And Mkonas is saying that guy's speaking at the side of his neck. And then you've got the professor Merite Haas, named. I mean, Mkonas will name your name. Like he will name names. And now we're starting to say, is there a prerogative for these people who are named in this thing, who are speaking on the periphery of this commission, to come and actually say, no, this is why I oppose Mkonas, this is why I oppose Masemula or Kumalo, etc. And also remember that the minister's also got to come and account. So the one side, this is just the one side of this thing. This is the one side of this thing. There's got to be the other side where these people come out. And I've figured that a lot of these guys, they're speaking out of turn, because I saw a clip from Julius Mkwanazi from EMPD having a fat chat with journals and saying that he knows nothing about blue lights. I was like, yo, but like legally, if you're like his lawyer home, you're like, dog, tool I'm fit. Like, you're now going to create a docket of your conversations in a public arena around what it is you did and didn't do. Right? Rather go clear yourself and then come back and say, I'm cleared. Because you're now just talking.
Yeah, because my thing is that with this whole commission, from my understanding, I mean, look, everybody knows these guys are corrupt. Like, it's just about how corrupt are they?
Yeah,
right?
Everybody knows.
Everybody.
Trust me, Ray. Everybody knows. Everybody knows these guys are corrupt. But you're right, dog. We know.
Come
on, not allegedly. Not allegedly. Monies go missing under the watch of politicians. Nah, bro. These guys are corrupt. Nah. Not allegedly. Our politicians are corrupt.
So this is why it's important that we have this. There's a court of public opinion which has absolutely no bearing in how things happen in this country. And if we are to change things in this country, right, you can have conversations like this. But because we're on this type of platform, we've got to encourage civic action from people, from platforms like this, in order for them something to happen. The reason why I'm saying that is because we've got to follow due process and we've got to be aggressive about it. If courts are taking time, we've got to go outside the court and say, why is that case taking 3 months or 6 months? That's the type of civic action we've got to have, because it happens in other matters. If Mhlambi, unfortunately, there's a kid who's gone missing and a body's been found or whatever, you will see a community rise up and go outside court. And then suddenly they're like, oh, we've got to start this case, because otherwise things are going to boil over. We are too docile in this country.
Yeah, very docile.
We are too docile. So, but we've got to do things legally, because we will set a bad precedence if we decide that we want to take things into our own hands the wrong way. Because other people, there's a clear roadmap on how to fight things in South Africa. And we still, genuinely as Abantu Abamnyama and even the greater community, we still don't want to fight in the same arena that these guys fight in. Because the people who steal money, they steal money and they go to court and they frustrate the same courts. You understand? So we need to say to ourselves, other than conversations that we have here, what are we going to do to change the situation? We're voting next year. Local gov.
Okay, bro, quick one, right? There's something that's very confusing to me as a simple guy. So this report is going to end up on whose desk? The president's, the commission.
El Presidente.
Nah, good. Put that aside. So, in the same commission, someone said that the president, they were told that the president already knows about the decommissioning of the TAS team. Then it looks like the president needs to come and testify as well. Did you know about the TAS team is getting disbanded? The TAS team that's doing the good work. And did you approve it? So if he's in, let's say now he comes forward. How is it that a commission where he's now been a witness to and testified also then ends up on his desk
But the same thing happened with the Zondo commission. It was given to him.
So
But-
what can the president do when the report is given to him? What can he do in
the-
seeking justice?
So the report is the report, which is why Parliament is able to say, give us the report. If we feel that there is a conflict of interest and you are a heavily implicated
I like
person,
that idea more.
you can give
Because
us
it's
the report,
it's
and then
multi-party, yes.
we will then vote on what goes forward.
I like that
so
more.
so it's not like Parliament doesn't have any powers into this, because obviously this is uncharted territory for us. Because
But also,
yeah.
no one's going to prison.
No, don't
Not
say no. I
from
don't want
the
to say that. Not
commission.
from the commission,
Nah.
but then
It's not a court.
that's why I was saying that why could we not have done this thing concurrently?
Got you.
Yes, with an actual legal
And I know
court.
that there's legal hurdles and hoops, and people must let us know and whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, after all of this, we're gonna go, no, South Africa's hectic, guys,
And then it
and then we're
goes
gonna go off. Then next year, maybe like Boma March, we're starting a trial. But the other side of it is that Ket Matlala is already in the dock.
Oh yeah, for the
He's already in the dock.
attempted murder of.
But again, there's a thing that he's going to likely start singing. So he needs to probably tell us, like, I'm not suicidal. He needs to tell us that I'm not suicidal. I don't have dark thoughts. I'm
Epstein
sound of
vibes.
mind. Yeah, I'm sound of mind.
Yes. If I'm dead,
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that are murky in this whole entire thing. But
Bro.
this is one of the this is a turning point in South Africa, guys. It's a turning point for what we've always kind of felt was the thing. If guys on the ground are asking you for a cool drink, what are the guys in the offices with the air conditioning asking for?
oh yeah. Manje, so now there's also another parliamentary process, ad hoc committee. Where does that whole fit in? What's its role compared to the commission?
So remember, the commission sits on its own and is unbiased, unencumbered, not attached. So it's going to do its own thing. But Parliament also still has the jurisdiction to actually do their own investigations and then use whatever comes out from the commission as an add-on. In fact, if Parliament does actually start and move at a good pace, it means that they will have done a lot of the legwork, and then when the commission report comes in, they're just plugging in whatever holes they have. Because there's also a couple of parliamentarians that are on that spider web of what we're looking at, right? And we've got to then figure out what powers they ultimately have in either bringing the report to themselves or forcing the executive to then ensure that the report goes to two places for redundancy, like 2 SD cards. So that if you say, hey, SD card, it fell and there's water and I don't have the report, they say, no, but we've got it. So you've got to find those redundancies within our system, because at this present moment in time, there's so many parts and portions of the SAPs that are touched in this report. It's almost insane. Right? The political killings task team is just one aspect. There's IPID, there's crime intelligence, there's the top brass, there's there's the guys who are doing sort of like more of your crime intelligence clandestine missions, who are now being sent to stop particular trucks and whatnot. Like it's so murky, dude. It's so murky.
I want to sidetrack for a bit,
Yeah.
right? I want to ask you, do you think we'll look back at Cyril's tenure, right, and be like, man, it was tough, but he was trying something, right?
Yeah.
And I'll give you an example with a soccer analogy, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a Man U supporter, and when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, when Ole was coach, right,
Yeah.
we're like, fuck, this is the pits, this is the worst Man United team ever. It can't get any worse than this. It's terrible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he left, and now we've got this new guy, Amarim, and now it's even
Now you're like,
worse.
He's a rim.
So now it's like, fuck, Ole, during Ole's times,
Yeah.
it was much better.
Yeah.
So do you think we'll look back at Cyril's tenure like that, in terms of like he was trying,
So it's such an interesting analogy that you put, and I think it is apt. I think it's important. There are things that have been expected from Cyril, and he's done those things. But there are things that we've expected from Cyril that he has not. The president at times has really not, he's not come to the party on issues that really burn us, right? We don't mind you making a decision that turns out to not be correct, but make a decision faster, right? This thing of always in this country saying, we'll take out a commission. Like, you can make a decision and then the commission goes. And then if the commission comes and finds that decision, we're not going to be like, no, you should have made that decision. Unless obviously there's criminal implications around those type of decisions. But we need to be a country that moves faster. I made an example and a joke at the start of this taping that this sounds like protocol. Like if you've ever been in a gov meeting, there's something inherently slow about the people that are meant to do things. The fact that I have to recognize everybody when we could have sent an agenda out to tell you who's going to be in the meeting. Like we need to. So that's
sing for 30 minutes.
That is the frustration.
Capacity, Tololo.
That's the.
These are the words of Gwede, bro. These are not my words. Gwede. Queasy. Yeah, they sing.
So we've got to understand as South Africans. He's got to understand us as South Africans.
Yeah.
That for a long time, we have really not felt like things are working.
Yeah.
We've really, and honestly speaking, there's nobody anywhere who is in the GNU who thinks that this country is working the way that it should be. And if they are, they should they can host a press conference. We'll listen to them because it's not working the way it's supposed to.
Neo, you got any question for Mustafa regarding the commission? Because I know he's our political analyst.
Yeah. He's our mighty Neo. Our eminent dissector. Mighty Neo. Welcome to another episode of Neo's Dissection.
I think mine is, I think it's on the following topic that we're going to have, because I feel like much was said by Senzo Mchunu, but we have like previous ministers like Big Ele and Natim Tetwa. And all of a sudden, we're having this thing about Natim Tetwa that passed on at France.
Let me read that while you're at it.
Yeah, we'll go.
So, former SA Minister of Sports and Arts and Culture, Natim Tetwa, who was the country's ambassador to France, has passed away. Reports indicate that he passed away while booked on the 22nd floor of the Hyatt Hotel in Paris. It is reported that he fell off the 22nd floor. His wife had previously reported him missing, according to reports. We've got a video we want to play, but we'll play that later. Yes, you were saying that.
I was asking if are we experiencing the same thing as the those two white dudes who were said that they have passed on from the state capture commission.
Oh, Gavin
Watson.
Gavin Watson.
Which other white dude?
Hey,
is it dude? But I forgot his name. The other one. So
okay. I think he's dead for real. Right?
I think. Obviously, it's a moving target in a story. And I'll give maybe a personal account of my perspective. I happen to have been at that hotel in 2023 during the Rugby World Cup. I even have a picture of the window, or the windows.
You talking about the Paris hotel?
Yes.
The Hyatt in Paris.
Yes.
Yeah. Whoa, bro.
I've been there. Maybe I'll send it through to you guys and you can put it up for the guys. There's a picture, and when I look there, I'm like, no, but those windows were secure.
Wait, are you done with your question?
Yeah.
You're done? Okay.
Yeah. Those windows were secure. So the story of he jumped out, or I don't know, maybe pushed out, or there was any of those type of things. It's like they would have needed to have been brute force to do that. Because a lot of those windows are secured. So you can open a little bit of it, but it's like there's a stopper. So if you wanna go out, you have to really use force to get out.
But it's possible.
But it's not. Yes, it's not.
Well, I have to break the window, like
you would have
some mechanism.
You would have to break the window or the mechanism.
That's fully open.
So in other words, you have to use force. So
with that in mind, do you think there was foul play then?
I think that there probably was foul play until I hear alternate evidence. Alternate evidence. Until someone says, no, we found this, we found that, we found this.
And do you think it's related to this commission?
Now, that's where we don't know. That's where we don't know because we can't make those speculations now. But we need to take this incident in its own merit, and then say, "Kwenzeke ntoni apha?" And then start to then say, we know definitely what happened here. He arrived at this time. He went in through here. Here are the camera footages of him arriving. Here's the camera footages outside the hotel of the first person who got to his body. It was at this time and that time. What other lines and links can we put together? Was there a security team that was with him? At what time did they let him go? There's so many questions and queries we've got to close up first before we can then say, okay, this happens. in relation to this, or it doesn't.
Because let's be honest, man. Politicians, there are a lot of things, but not suicidal, man. They live a good life, those guys.
Politicians are shameless.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking as well. We've never seen a politician, who comes under fire or is exposed of being involved in these funny things.
Says, I'm checking out.
And then goes and says, I'm checking out. They don't fall on their sword. They don't kill themselves because, oh no, I stole money from the sick. They're shameless. So for me, some people are trying to say it's like a suicide because of the name or things are gonna get revealed. I'm like, that's
no,
not
it doesn't work like that because
African politicians.
Because you've also got to give the person their due process, and based off whatever was out there wasn't a definitive thing where we could say other than the flag thing and the whatnot. There wasn't a definitive thing. Yo, lay out. You understand?
Konazi mentioned him Nana, but it wasn't like a
exactly.
He did what?
So that's why it's tricky. Obviously, there's a lot we don't know. There's a little bit that we now do know that he's passed.
And condolences to the family.
And condolences to the family because at the end of the day, ebe ngutata, you understand? He was many things to many people.
His size we don't know.
100%. So what we want to have
That
here.
doesn't sound right.
Wait, no,
man, the size of him that we don't know. Father, leader, family member, brother.
Yes.
You forgot to say pause. Don't they say pause when you say something like that?
No size. If you say something that sounds a bit gay, that implicates you in being gay, then you say pause. Okay. So that doesn't implicate me in being gay.
Okay. So at the end of the day,
pause.
No pause. No pause.
No pause.
No pause. Menopause. Menopause are like women.
Before we continue, man, make sure you elevate your betting game with EasyBet, the only sports betting site giving you a massive 150% first match deposit match of up to 1,500 rands. That's not all. EasyBet brings you the best soccer odds plus hundreds of the hottest slots, crash, and live dealer games. And here's the kicker. You'll get a 50 rand sign-up bonus absolutely free. No deposit needed. But the real game changer is that EasyBet is the only site that gives you 15% cash back on your losing bets. Nowhere else will you find that. So don't miss out and join EasyBet today and use the promo code MacG50 to claim your 50 rand welcome bonus. That's MACG50 to claim your 50 rand welcome bonus. EasyBet Group Pty Ltd is licensed and regulated by the Eastern Cape Gambling Board. Gambling is only for persons 18 years and older. Winners know when to stop. You want to move on to the next topic, or you just want to wrap this one up?
So I think we need to also then, as part of this conversation, go into the Tembisa hospital. Shenanigans, because
what's coming out is
they are part and parcel of this whole entire thing.
Yeah.
And
by the way, what house is worth 90 million in Zimbabwe, bro?
Hey man, there's things there that are closest to the ocean. There are prices that we shouldn't even know
like
about.
An ocean backyard, bro.
Yeah,
and
you are in there.
There's things.
I understood the Cape Town one because it was a house he bought in Cape Town for 85 million.
And then some are just overpriced, bro. There's houses in Waterfall where they're like 40 million, and you're like, fuck that. You're like, come on, that's not 40 million, bro. That's like,
who was that, by the way? Who am I talking about?
Morgan Maumela.
Okay.
Morgan Hangwan Maumera.
Yeah, Maumela. I always wonder, like like how people will like have like an English name and then they decide like halfway through, like no. Bring in my ethnic name or like my indigenous name. I want to use that one.
Oh yeah, I know a nigga like that. It was Jacob. You know Jacob Spear.
Yes.
Yeah. Then so he's Pushaza. So first radio show I did with that nigga. And I was calling him Pushaza. He didn't like me calling him by Pushaza, which is
actually
yeah. But then apparently sent some email when it was at 947 to everybody at Prime Media that from now on I'm not Jacob, I'm this guy.
Really?
So that happens. Yeah, when Oaks like want to be Tandubuntu, not Solom's anymore.
Like
call Tandubuntu now.
Umzwanele Manyi.
Yes, Jimmy Manyi.
He doesn't want to be
Jimmy Manyi
like,
for the longest time, proudly.
Pravin Gordon didn't want to be called Jamnandas. Like, what's your name, Joe?
Yeah.
Like, own it.
Yeah.
But again, it's a weird thing. So, back to the story. Okay, so this thing, there's 2 billion rands worth of at this juncture. It could be more.
It could be more.
It could be more.
And that's just one hospital. Wow. And that's a hospital of 800 plus beds. Not even a big hospital,
bro. Bro.
Not even a big hospital. I thought like it's a juggernaut, it's a
No.
big Paraguanas like
No.
hospital. And it's a small Nyana hospital.
And why this is important relative to the Madlanga Commission is that Babita Diokaran
Shout out.
was the
Yeah.
whistleblower
Hero,
that
man.
said, guys, kuyamoshakala Tembisa
Konite
Hospital. Kuyamoshakala. I can't even like, at some point you look at the numbers and you're like, this makes no sense. And she was one of those people who looked at it and she said, guys, there's a mess going on there. We need to look. And because of that, she was killed. And that killing is linked to Uvusumuzi, Cat Matlala. And that's why this Tembisa thing is so tied to everything else that's going on right now at the Madlanga Commission. And everybody, don't allow mainstream media to tell you what is going on. Go watch for yourself the live streams. Go watch for yourself because people will start to edit things in their way and in their perspective. You need to catch one or two of the sessions. You don't have to watch the whole thing. It's almost like how the country watched the Oscar Pistorius thing because it was so talkable and whatnot. But people are not as interested in this. It's only a section of people. Everybody needs to be watching this thing. Everybody needs to understand. So what's happening there is that they're saying that they used various companies to siphon money off, allegedly. They used to siphon money out of Tembisa Hospital to then enrich these people to an extent where there's now this criminal network is now being linked to Tembisa Hospital as well. A lot of these things are going to start making sense to people because Tembisa Hospital, a lot of the, and we have to say shout out to some of the journals, right? Some of the journals did speak about the blue lights, the Tembisa Hospital, all of the stuff a long time ago. But at that time, it's one of those things that stands by itself and you can't really link it. What Mkhwanazi has done, and subsequently Bofani Masamula and all of these other guys, is that they've said all of those things that you were hearing in isolation, Tembisa Hospital, that, it's all part of this diagram here. This spider diagram, this is what's happening. None of these things are happening in isolation. And that is what we have to contend with as South Africans.
Something is weird is happening, man. Babita Diokaran got murdered a while ago. I mean, the lid has been open on this whole Tembisa looting of 2 billion for a while now.
Yeah.
Why now is it that this asset forfeiture unit is moving in on Hangwani Maumeda? When this thing has been...
That's such an interesting question.
Why during this commission
Such an interesting
are they... So what do you think? And you would not know because you're not the one making the decisions, but why are they starting to move in on him now, concurrently with the commission? Would they even have moved in had Mkhwanazi not stood before the country? What's going on, man? It feels like somebody's fucking with us, bro.
So I'll say this. Since I think Cyril Ramaphosa took over the running of the country, one thing that has happened is that the Special Investigating Unit, ESIU, has gotten a lot of power and they've gotten a lot of stuff over the line. I must say that. Because one of the core things that criminals used to do is that they would go steal state money and they would then use state money to fight the state. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a big thing was empowering the Asset Forfeiture Unit and empowering the SIU. The reason why this is important was that you, Saul, would go and say, I've now got 100 M. Then they say, no, but Saul, you weren't supposed to. There's nefarious things there. They come back to you and say, Saul, we're taking you to court. Bro, with 100 M, you can drag the thing for years, bro.
So it's like what? It's like Kat Matlala, if you got that 300 million SAPS tender, right? Here's a guy who's had a brush with the law. He's getting an SAPS tender for 300 million. And then they want to come back and then he can fight the legal with that the same 300 million. So had the tender went through.
So where the dynamic has shifted and where I think that the SIU has become really pivotal is that they are able to move in immediately and freeze things with the Asset Forfeiture Unit. So it's like, okay, Sharp, you've stolen this thing. Asibege this thing. And then let's ask Kulumemina now. We know that this money went in, so say freeze the account where this money went in. Here's our warrant, here's our court order. Ask Kulumege out. Now you're saying to yourself, I'm in a corner because I can't use the same money that I've stolen to then fight the state. So that's why the asset forfeiture and the SIU they're crucial. Because think about something as simple as that National Lotteries Commission thing that happened, right? the SIU moved in fast. And if you want to know what the SIU is doing, they are one of the best communicating policing services or law enforcement services in this country. They even put music on their Instagram to say Tinas Funimali. And they've got your picture there. They're saying that one, and it was 2 billion. So, but they are communicating in a language and in a way that makes the average South African who is younger start to understand what is going on. So, yes, you are correct. Something is going on. But the fact that the SIU has moved in this fast as well, relative to us knowing about it, this is key. Because remember, when it first started, Tembisa Hospital was part of Babita's case as well. To say, well, actually, what's going on there? So, to my knowledge, and you can please fact check me on this, to my knowledge, there was an investigation that was going into the Tembisa thing around Babita at the time. But now that it's escalated itself, probably the likelihood is that people who were going to be arrested, it's now happened faster, or at least there's law enforcement action that's happening faster. So, yes, things don't move the way that we want them to move when they pop up. But you have to understand, that's when the issue comes in to say, yeah, he went to court and he was acquitted. Because if you move too fast, you can move fast, but too fast means that you might miss some things. And those technicalities is how people get off. So we have to balance what we think should be happening. But if we are too early, but wrongful arrest.
Do you not find it crazy how most of the people that are mentioned in this commission were at Edwin Sodi's 50th?
Bruh, we have to talk about that.
That's like the only picture of my moment, and it's like a side profile. In the whole of the internet and the whole of media can't even get a picture of this guy.
I was close to going. He invited me.
No way. Nigga, you the last nigga was gonna be there. Then you're gonna get all the fatties there. And you're like, oh no, not you all selling pop.
He's probably said something about every single person there this time.
Yeah, dog. Like, yo. People will start leaving like, this nigga's here. We are enjoy your party, dog, with MacG.
Bro, at this point, if you were there at that 50th, if you were at that 50th,
Hey,
bro. What's your take on that? What's your take on that?
No, like I think there's a level of braggadocious, debaucherous displays of access that has engulfed a certain class of people, because as much as like, I think the first layer of like 10 entrepreneurs and PEE, they were just guys who flossed in their hoods. Like we were annoyed with you, but like, cause bambambi, so and so. I mean, even back in like 2005 when I was still sort of like in the EC, there was a gent whose dad was implicated, and like you saw their life change. Like, yo, you were here getting dropped off with cars this date. Now it's like, yo, like, like you saw that there were things happening and you understood, okay, sharp. Then there was just a period of like, nah, people are doing too much. Like, yo, like where UBE became tenderpreneur. When that shift happened, that's when a lot of this stuff started to now really engulf South African society. And then you ask yourself, and there's a conversation that I had with somebody a long time ago and said, why is this happening to South Africa? And I said, it's because South Africa is run by former principals.
Oh.
What do you mean?
It's not run by lawyers. It's not run by engineers like other countries. America's run by lawyers. China's run by engineers. We are run by principals. Look at most of the people there. Go look at their qualifications. They are all people who are principals, teachers, and whatnot. We've got a problem here. Education. They were all, because they could wag the finger. Remember when we were wondering ourselves in South Africa, why are politicians wagging fingers at us? Because these people, principal, what they should be doing.
Who's the principal, man? I'm lost.
No, tons of people. What I'm saying is the principal nature says a lot of these people during apartheid, they had core things that they could do. A lot of the people that weren't going to go into really gainful professions or hard professions like science, etc., and mathematics and all these other things, they ended up being in the teaching profession. So a lot of these people, and you can search up certain people who were in teaching, a lot of these people ended up being the first administrators of the new dispensation, the new democracy. So when I say there were principles, I mean their background is in principal, teacher, education, most of them, right? And that creates a basis of understanding and problem solving that is so far removed from what the country needs, right? It's either you were unionist, you are unionist, or you were in teaching.
Do you put Cyril in the same bracket because he's a businessman?
But he was a unionist.
Okay.
Right? But he was a unionist. And if we go down the path of unionization in this country, I think that we have a huge problem with unionization. I think we've got a huge problem. I don't think it shouldn't exist. I think it should be decentralized because the problems that affect Ose Eastern Cape don't affect Ose Mangaung in Bloemfontein or somebody in other areas. So you can't say, no, let's blanket this thing. Because every single year, the same people, the same unionists will have one quarter where they're making a lot of noise because they need to seem like they were doing something for the people that are paying their subscriptions.
Sure. Penduka, any other questions?
Yeah, man. Looking back in hindsight, remember one of the first things the president did was move, I think it's national intelligence under the presidency. Looking at in hindsight, and then ever since he did that with politicians bringing better criminals, the Zamazamas, there's so many things that intelligence was meant to get ahead of that actually have not been happening and they've been running amok. Was that a great idea? And could it be possible he could have done that with ulterior motives instead of what he told the country he's doing it for?
I don't want to speak on why he did it. I think what we can speak on is what has subsequently happened.
Yes.
So I because the decision would be me trying to judge his decision just on its own, but rather like what's happened. I think what has happened, just like positively, I will say that things like the SIU and asset forfeiture have now gotten a lot of power out of that. They can now take action, and if they're not working, we can see that they're not working because they wouldn't be posting stuff. That's one side of it. The other side of it is quite interesting and very crucial. What separates, and this is to answer your question, what separates General Mkhwanazi from the other generals and ultimately how South Africa has been operating when it comes to crime intelligence. What General Mkhwanazi did was not to now suddenly become, to subvert how we do things or whatever. He started to use the components that are available to him as a general to fight crime. Simple example, track and trace teams. SAPS has track and trace teams that are meant to go look for criminals. He just put more pressure and more incentive for his guys in the track and trace team to go find people. Like, he's not going to walk past the office of the track and trace team and be like, for 3 months, just walking in for the office. He's going to walk in and say, hey, what did you do this week? And that suddenly, that simple thing of Nenzeni this week starts to create a thing of, we got to be out on the streets finding criminals. That's part one of this thing, of the petty criminals. And by finding petty criminals, you then start to go up the chain because this thing is a layer. It's a pyramid. That's why he ended up where he ended up. Now, if other commissioners across the country, whose names I don't know, if they, and I don't know them because I don't think they're doing work. And if they are, well, show me the work you've been doing.
Actually,
because then suddenly, if their track and trace teams were doing what the KZN track and trace team is forced to do, because they know that this gentleman who is now the head of us, he comes from that space, from Special Task Force. He knows that on a daily basis, you're looking at case files and saying, let's hit the streets, gents. Let's go into these places. Let's go try and put people in to see, is there a gang operating here? That's what crime intelligence and track and trace is meant to do. Now, relative to what you are speaking about intelligence sitting in the presidency, there was a time in South Africa where some people felt that there is an undermining of intelligence when it sits outside of the direct purview of the president. And this was around the time of the Chinese ladies massaging the minister at that time. Is it Mahlobo? David Mahlobo, I think. It was around that time. So post that David Mahlobo era, it then became almost like a certainty that there was a fast and looseness when it came to intelligence as a whole in the country, right? this is when we were having conversations around the slush funds for the SSA, right? Which is our you could say CIA kind of type of thing. That they were having extra missions and things, and where they couldn't account for money and all of these things. So we come from a period where when it was too far to grab intelligence, it would then do its own thing. Why do I think this is happening? I think it's happening because generally corruption in South Africa, and again, this is going to be another thing for people to get their head around, is not entirely political.
Yes, it is David Mahlobo.
David Mahlobo, yes.
Yes.
So outside...
I love how you ask yourself questions. I
Yes.
love that, eh?
So, because I'm trying to work through it to make it simpler. So then we have to ask ourselves, when we look at intelligence as a whole, what do we want out of intelligence? What do we want? What do we want our intelligence services to do and be? Because they also failed in the riots of 2021, right? But then there was a conversation to say, the people who were in intelligence during that time are the same people who did this because they ran doomsday scenarios. This was another thing. They said, they looked at South Africa and said, how could we crack this country if we wanted to crack? And they said, we could start multiple riots across the country. And because of the socio-economic situations that South Africans find themselves in, they will join in. And for a while, over those 2 days, 3 days, it looked like people were going to join in. But the humanity of South Africans shone through and they said, and we do know that there were elements from those riots who were sent in by supposedly the people who work in intelligence and who work in the senior intelligence perspectives, or who had worked in the administration. So to answer your question, I don't think what he did was wrong, but we have to look at the results of that decision. Because intelligence being too far, remember, intelligence by its very nature is secretive. So what type of oversight do you think should be there for intelligence, and who gets to see these files? Because intelligence is also, in their own right, the same people that will fix a problem and it goes away and you don't hear about it. But when the problem was there, we were all talking about the problem. Things like taxi violence. Taxi violence will happen for a while and then they'll deploy some intelligence guys and then it'll stop. But they can't come back and say, hey, stile ngabo.
Yeah.
Stile ngabo, John Wick, stile ngabo. Now what I'm saying, you understand? It's not in their nature. They do the dirty work, the grimy work, and the covert work. And then they come back. So we also must say it's a good thing that we understand what's happening in police intelligence, because there's also national intelligence that has to look after our borders, our things, etc. Because that's what they should be doing. National intelligence should be saying, we've stopped the syndicate of people that are doing trafficking. We've done that thing. But
some are done with.
100%. These are the things that intelligence should be doing. That's why they are deployed into that thing. And I think just to close this thing, I remember when I was very young, it must have been 18, when the Hawks were around. And there were two instances that gave me faith as an 18-year-old that things were happening. I remember having a conversation with a grootman of mine at Tembisa in the Eastern Cape. And he was one of the operators, right? I don't know if he was supposed to tell me this. He's probably obviously out of the thing now. But because the Hawks don't exist. But the Scorpions don't exist. He was part of the Scorpions.
Yeah.
And he was like, we're actually getting stuff done. Like I was old enough to understand, because I'd ask him, hey, Malums, like, I'm young, so I'm like, hey, Scorpions. He's like, I went in, type of thing. And I'd asked him, I was like, what work do you do? And he's like, we don't do police work. We do work so that people can go to jail. We do the work. It's like we don't fire a shot because we arrive when you're having dinner with your family. You understand? He was like, there was a different vibe of how we operate. This was the Scorpions. And then obviously Ubaba came in and disbanded them.
Bro, my thing is with all these criminals, bro, how do they sleep at night?
Disbanding of things that catch criminals as a president, for me, it just it's like, bro, that's so brazen.
You understand what I'm saying?
Disbanding the the units, disbanding the Scorpions.
Yeah.
Yo, these are people catching criminals. So if our leaders know about these disbanders, who's calling the shots? And I feel like Morgan Maumela, Ket Matlala, all the guys who've been unmasked, Katiso, these guys will take the fall and to protect the really higher ups. And I wonder how high it goes, bro. The rocks.
And my thing is, how do these guys sleep at night, dog?
Bro,
you stole 2 million from sick people,
2
dog.
billion.
2 billion, sorry, 2 billion.
Peacefully, bro.
How do you enjoy that money, bro? You actually buy cars
with the
and boats.
baddies. That's how you enjoy
baddies,
it.
bro.
Fucking hell.
Peacefully,
I wouldn't be able to enjoy that money, though.
peacefully.
You have a conscience.
You have a
Some
conscience,
people
bro.
don't, bro.
You have a conscience.
Always be really mindful of people with high ambitions and low morals.
And maybe you don't sleep well for the first 3-4 nights.
Then after that,
you realize, fuck, I live in a palace. Fuck, this bed is comfortable. Fuck, I could be. Let's be honest.
Thread count. Your thread count is high.
After the 6 Ferrari, dog.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Before we talk about Julius Malema, you mentioned something earlier that it's got a global impact, this commission or this story.
So
what were you alluding to?
So the global impact is how we are viewed and how we handle this particular situation is going to be very telling about how people see South Africa. Yes, it's a simple thing. We want to find out what is going on. But can you imagine somebody who wants to invest in South Africa on a $2-3 billion project?
Yeah.
He's thinking, man, if there's people running around doing whatever they want, we're going to have a problem here. And I was even thinking to myself, saying, I wonder what we are saying to people globally from like an international relations perspective, because these are the type of things that when an ambassador goes and he sits with an opposing sort of like ambassador or speaks in another country and they ask, they're like, "Yo, bro, we just threw like $4 or $5 billion in your thing. Like, how is this thing going to affect this thing?" I wonder what type of conversations we're starting to have, because those directly affect foreign direct investment into South Africa.
Bro, what's the protocol when a minister dies in another country like Natim Teta?
So he was an ambassador.
Ambassador?
I didn't even know that.
So he was an ambassador
I
to
didn't even
France.
know that,
Yeah. So they're obviously going to have to, the president will then declare what type of categorization he will get in terms of the state funerals. And then the state, because he's an ambassador and he died on the job, that side, they will repatriate the body back. But they'll probably also have to send an uncle to go fetch spirit sack as well, right? So those things are the things that will happen first. And then the president declare, we're going to have a Cat 1, Category 2, Category 3, Category 4 funeral for him or a memorial. And then the family will then get their time to.
And there's no tension between us and France?
I don't think that there is actual tension between us and France. France just started to back a lot of what we've been saying about Israel.
Yeah.
So I don't think necessarily there's tension with France. France has got its own problems, and that's another entire thing.
But I'm saying something like this won't cause any tension because he died on France's soil.
No, I think what they will do is that they will genuinely do a thorough investigation that as we hope will not, that either absolves them or gives us a full, complete story of what happened. Yeah. So that it's not a thing that happened. Because remember, there's other people like, what's this lady, September, but this was during apartheid, who was killed by the apartheid state while staying in Paris. And she has a square there. Okay. Is it Darcy September? Please, can you fact check me? Is it, there's a lady, something September. She was killed there, but during apartheid times, because she was bringing up a lot of the stuff around arms dealing between France and the apartheid government, right, at the time. And she was really vocal about that type of stuff. So we have had instances like that, but in the past, in the old regime. But what I think is core, yes,
her name is Darcy September. She was assassinated in Paris in 1988.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So
damn, the apartheid government was really
no, they didn't play.
They were really dedicated. They'll find you in France in 1988.
100%. And remember, they had the whole might of the state behind them, and they were looking for obviously activists, ANC members, and other political parties
throughout the world. Down.
Exactly. So whether they're planting a bomb, whether they're shooting you down as you come down the stairs,
or a letter bomb.
So
those are popular.
These are the type of things that they were doing. So globally, I think we've got to figure out how we deal with this thing.
Before we move on, bro, with this whole thing, I feel like, is it just me or there's less vigor and energy by the media, and there's less scrutiny. Because I feel like if all of this was happening, this whole police people cartels under Zuma's tenure, it would be like there'd be like already Zuma must go marches, and there'd be like books on Zuma, but it feels like that energy is not there under the current president.
So there's a very much a tenuous.
The rand is so strong, bro.
There's a
like, no, for real. The rand is so strong, bro. Like,
it's not in ICU.
Like, yo, the rand would be in ICU. You in the free fall, from the 20. Yeah. Bro, for real. Things are very calm. For real, things are super calm, bro. It's the weirdest thing.
So I think what has happened is that there's also another. There's a different civic movement that exists now in South Africa, and it's the people. The people also fact check people. I mean, it's so easy now to fact check people on Grok. I mean, Grok at times, but
general AI. Yeah.
So what that now means is that people can't necessarily come out with things that aren't as.
No. His question is not about people, it's about the media.
No, I'm going to.
The energy. Business South Africa. Build one South Africa and all that. That's
I'm coming to that. So
big business,
I'm
man.
setting a layer for you to understand.
Got you.
In those past, social media and its influence in how stories evolve was very much on a viewer basis. A story would come out, we would view it, we would read it. We now drive narratives, and our narratives find their way in subsequent updates and revisions of stories. We are the ones that are now investigating things. Tabo Pesta wafunyana with social media. You understand what I'm saying? There's a different type of activism that exists. Now, what has happened with the media is reporting on it. But what is core is that people don't even trust them. So you can take out the stories based off the commission every single day, but the opinion pieces, we're going to slap you down if you're talking nonsense.
Yeah, like people say, where's the evidence?
100%. Like
when Kwanazi,
like Karen Mon.
He's giving evidence.
Karen Mon said, where's the evidence? We're like, Aibo.
He is giving evidence.
And he is evidence.
That is evidence. Verb,
So,
But what's so saying that image is not there during Zuma.
Because
because
there are different political dynamics at play. They're different. The GNU understands that we've got to fix things. Can you imagine the meetings that are happening right now because of this type of thing? Because obviously everyone's trying to take pot shots, etc. And they're trying to say, no, can you see what you guys are doing? You need to take this guy out, do that thing. And they would rightfully so within an environment where you're not the outright winner. They would have those type of conversations. But as this thing is happening now, what I feel is core is that a lot of people aren't necessarily silenced. I just also think that there's not enough foreign cash via USAID that's coming in to inflame NGOs to make statements that then get written up. There's a huge layer in South Africa that's suddenly gone quiet, if you think about it. Which means that foreign cash, probably US cash, is now out of the system. If you go, there's a particular professor at a university in Gauteng. I won't name the university. This guy wrote a story and said that he wrote around, it was either around BEE or something of the sort. I've got a video coming out about BEE, actually. It's way more than 100 people making cash off BEE.
Wow.
So based off that thing, he wrote a story, said BEE only benefits X amount of people and they've made this much money, right? So a member of mine in a group, in one of our groups, he sends a story to me. And just to show you how quickly you can fact check people, I literally said to myself, this story is so skewed towards a particular type of narrative and it's not balanced. I went and I said, okay, this professor here, and then he wrote his thing there. Then I saw a name of an organization. I followed that organization. You know what I did? I just said, who funds this organization in South Africa? Boom, kwavela, the Ford Foundation in America. Because in America they have a different type of transparency, I was able to find that this guy over the last 12 months has received 10 million rand via that organization. In 30 minutes, I was able to work out ubani ofunda this professor, obhala le narrative about South Africa.
Jeez.
You understand what I'm saying?
And then
So
the
when
normal
that-
person won't do that.
No,
It's all
because they don't know where to.
manufactured,
They don't know where to look.
Yeah.
I've been to New York
manufactured
and
narratives.
I've been to these places
Yeah.
where we sit with NGOs and the funders of NGOs and we listen to these stories and whatnot. And you can see when they want to twist you, Bazamun twist. No, but you must go back to South Africa and kind of spread
Who's
the
funding
good
these
message.
podcasts that are like heavily anti-ANC?
So I genuinely think that there's money that's flowing in from Zionists.
Like which one?
Whoa.
Which podcast?
There's a lot, dog.
No,
Anti-ANC?
No,
Yeah.
they're not necessarily anti-ANC. They're anti the stance of the country around a particular issue.
Yes.
And that issue is Israel.
Israel.
So there's a feeling that I've got that a lot of the people who have been saying quite negative things and putting South Africa on a bad pedestal, that those people are funded by Zionists.
Makes sense.
It's just, and this is hearsay.
Yeah.
This is hearsay. I'm not saying it's definite.
It's like they all have the same script. They
And
say the same
also,
shit.
remember how easy it is now to game the algorithm. Remember, there's this thing called it's like content curation that you don't have to show your face. You just do a voiceover with AI and stuff. There's tons of those channels popping up right now.
Yeah.
Tons of those. And there's a factory that's farming these things.
Pushing propaganda.
100%. So my feeling is that nothing is by chance. The silence is because American funding has stopped coming to South Africa generally in terms of NGOs and that type of stuff. And because of that, the other stuff that they were doing when the money hits SA, which is to fight the government, fight for illegal immigrants, that stuff is not happening.
But with the Zuma era, man, come on, Mustafa, it was not even America, it was like local business, big business.
Where do you think all this
doing
money
the
was-
marches?
But where do you
and,
think this money was coming from?
all
I
these
don't-
things?
Like, you've got to know that there's a web. There are people that run this country, Solom's.
Yeah.
There are people that run this country, and they chase their investments with money that is going to change the narrative in their favor. That's what they're going to do. So when American interests started to say, South Africa, not so much, American money in the ether of influence started to recede. And when that money's out the picture, that's why you see it's quiet. That's why you're seeing MMC Bengena into buildings now, and there's no NGO that's crying. Very few are crying. So, because they don't have the funds, the narrative, and the destabilization of South Africa or that project doesn't have enough money at this present moment in time. And then the things that we've got to deal with are in-house things, and we've got to sort out this thing that's happening at Madlanga.
As we're recording right now, judgment has been handed down in the Julius Malema firearm trial after a marathon recap of testimonies which happened throughout the week. Malema was found guilty.
Haibo.
Olivier said the court can't find any bias with state witnesses. Malema's former bodyguard, Adrian Snyman, was found not guilty. The two men were accused of firing a rifle at the 2018 rally in Mdantsane, in close proximity to a large crowd of if supporters, and charged with violating the Firearms Control Act.
Yeah.
The matter has been postponed to the 23rd of Jan 2026 for pre-sentence reports.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
He'll probably lose his gun license.
That's it.
That's immediate.
this is first offense.
Yeah. Like he'll definitely lose. Like if you carry a firearm legally in this country, like the one thing you are like
It needs to be
scared
responsible.
about is losing your ability to own one in future. Right? So I genuinely think that's the first thing they'll go for. It's not really going to be as big as what we think it is.
Yeah.
They'll probably go after the security company that gun is licensed to. They will. These are the immediate recourse actions that they can take. And then on a posture and then say a branding perspective or an image perspective, I don't think this dents him in any way, other than he now can't carry a pistol by
Your
himself.
thoughts,
or a
Pinduka?
thing.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts him, man. You know, Julius has always been like the rebellious
He's
militant
he's
politicians. Exactly, so, bulletproof. So if he shot a gun, it's a rally. It won't dent him in any way. But yeah, I don't see him spending a day in prison.
Yeah.
There's always things.
Maybe at a
I don't
push.
even think he should, man.
Yeah.
Not over this.
Maybe at a push,
Anyway.
what they would do is that they would say he's endangering lives. And I don't know then what that becomes. Because there is because if you as a normal person were to shoot a firearm and there were people around, you could go to jail. So I don't know if there will be a legal will to pursue this. I don't know what the NPA will say. They've
What's
been
your
quiet
take-
about many things in this country.
What's your take on the race for Joburg next year, man?
That thing annoys me. Yo, la coco. Bro, I'm going to say this and I'm going to say this quite simply.
Yeah.
I want people to show me where Helen Zille, particularly her, where she has done right, where she has governed.
But she's everywhere.
No. She was mayor in Cape Town. She was mayor in Cape Town.
Didn't she win an award for best mayor in the world?
2008.
Surely there's rights that she's
the best
doing
mayor in the
at
world.
some places.
When was the last time you were in Kailicha?
Where's Rands?
It's a Google.
Yeah, I was in Google. I was in Rands. And then where's what's his name? Jordan's ways of cooking.
I don't know where that
It's
is.
somewhere. I've been,
Yeah.
man. I've
So,
been.
but-
Like 2-3 years ago.
But
last year.
But the reason,
No, Kylie was last. No, man, hold on. Rands was last year. Yo, what I'm trying to say is I do go to Cape Town Township. So, bro, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We've got Orange Farm. We've got Alex here. I was on Orange Farm the other day trying to drive out when it rained.
yeah.
Bro, to be black and in South Africa half the time, it's you lose your dignity. There's no
Yeah.
dignity. Dude, I was driving in a fucking puddle of water. Dude, black people in this country, bro, majority have no dignity. So I don't need to be in Kailicha. I was on
Yeah.
Orange Farm. It was
100%.
raining.
100%.
Trying to fucking drive
Yeah.
out. It was a war zone.
So the reason why Helen Zille would put her hand up is obviously strategically political, but more than anything, I think she's seen that there is an absence of leadership in Johannesburg, and that's why
Yeah.
they felt that they could fully contest, because we
Oh,
have
they
to
can.
we have to be realistic about it. That there is an absence of leadership in Johannesburg, and nobody can tell us differently.
Yeah.
Our office is in Parkhurst, bro. For 2 weeks, my team had to work from home because of commands.
in the north,
Broski.
a tiny ass house in Pocos is 5 million rands.
Broski. So at the end of that day,
I love you didn't say no.
He's good. No. An old ass from the 60s.
Hey, Baba. Hey, Baba.
For real,
Hey,
those
Baba.
houses are like from the 60s. It's
Yeah.
5 million. It's a fucking
Very
three-bedroom,
old.
two-bedroom ass house.
So-
Tiny ass.
So at the end of the day,
Bro,
there is a direct benefit. There's a direct effect on businesses and people's lives when the Aikenhof Dam or the Hurstville reservoirs, when they don't work. And genuinely speaking, this is not a new thing. 3 years, 4 years ago, you can go back 10 years ago. People knew that this was an issue and it still hasn't been fixed. But if you told citizens, listen, we're going to have this thing off for 3 months and it's going to be tough, but it'll never go off again. You understand? These are the simple things that are missing in Johannesburg. To fix a street, to fix Ypres Street, or I'm not sure what it's called now, Ypres Street.
Lilian Goy.
Yeah, Lilian, to fix that has taken how many years?
Yo.
And they did a shit job, right? Apparently the road is fucked, bumpy as hell. It's bad.
Because they
When last were you there?
they used
No, I saw a video. Drivers.
they used
taxi drivers on
they
TikTok
used
now.
paving bricks,
Paving bricks.
which in itself are not a bad thing. They're not a bad thing. This is important. They're not a bad thing, but relative to what you need there, I don't know if they're the best solution for there.
In town.
High,
and at the cost, looking at the
At
cost
the
as
cost
well.
that
What,
they-
and what
yeah,
and it's
it-
paving.
But,
what the fuck?
but then,
Doesn't add up.
but then likely, and someone who's a civil engineer who does roads can tell us, but likely when you want to fix stuff, taking out paving bricks would be easier than asphalt. I don't know, right? So let's not be too thingy around that. But genuinely, Joburg has been in a crazy decline for years,
the whole of Gauteng, bro.
100%.
Golden Walk.
So at the end of the day, the reason why Helen Zille has put up her hand is because she can see Uguti, akobandwa, akobandwa. Sikangena man up. You know, that's why it's happening. But I don't think she'll get them. You know who I think will make it? I think Herman will.
Why don't you think she'll get there? Remember,
She needs your vote.
oh yes,
She
and
needs you, Solomon.
people. She'll
She
get,
needs
she'll
you.
get- let me tell you something, bro. So, you see, you are complaining about Parkhurst. There's no electricity in Parkhurst. It's the north. Average people have been feeling like this in Alberton and Germiston.
Yeah.
Dude, I used to get dressed to go to a Golden Walk, which was a mall in Germiston.
Yeah.
Now it looks like a fucking flea market.
And there's
I'm
no
sure.
yes.
Yeah, Alberton City. These were quality malls,
Yeah.
bro.
I know Alberton City.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
used to be like
Yeah.
real. Go there now. It's a shit show. So what I'm trying to say is, it's at a point where people are like,
Breaking
we know
point.
the story of Guguletu, of Kailicha, but do you think all these people like you with officers in Parkhurst in the north? at this point, people just want services for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point,
No longer about
the black
community.
people who ideology believe in the ANC and all, they just want running water.
Yeah.
So people now will be on some, I don't care what happens in Vosloo or Spruit, I want running water in Parkhurst.
Yeah.
Therefore, I know who can bring me what running water
Yeah.
because my own can't. So I think she will get the vote because people are frustrated. They don't care. Like Mandela said, what color the cat is that catches the mice, as long as it catches the mice. Remember that Mandela quote?
Yeah, but remember, her path. This guy.
Feels like he dropped the
No,
bar.
it's a Mandela quote. Yeah, no. Mandela. No. In 94, when he was just voted in, Mandela said, we don't care what color the cat is, as long as it can catch the mice.
Yes.
And guess what? Even the black people in the middle class who love NEC, PAC, all these people, don't want their fucking 5 million rand homes losing value because there's no water and electricity in the hood.
100% I agree with you. Like, but you also have to understand that in order for her to get that mayoral chain, she's got to get past someone like Herman, who has shown that he can govern in Johannesburg. You might not have liked the way that he did it, but it was still
Oh, yeah,
undeclared.
he was effective.
And then secondly, he's shown that his party in Tshwane can do and turn things around. And Herman is talking about the policies and the things on the ground where he can say, we will take back the CBD. If that's the only thing Action SA does, we will take back the CBD. And those are the type of things that people feel are important just as much as, yes, water must run. Those are non-negotiables, right? Basics.
Man.
So I don't think she gets there because she won't be able to form a coalition that will get her there. That's my view. And it will be tested and this will be clipped and whatever. But at the end of the day, I think that Action SA has decided that they are going to do a reverse. We are going to go to Parliament via starting from the ground. We are going to then say, after all the people who are mayors, let's take them to try and be premiers. Let's try to get them into MEC positions. Let's try to get them there. Let's try to take one province. After that, let's take enough provinces or enough MECs to then say, can we be a fixture, a thing? It's actually a great strategy considering everybody always looks at national. So they've decided, how can we use the good stories of turning around areas that are not, that are consequential, but are not big, that they would really overwhelm us as Action SA? Because easily Action SA can be like, yeah, eThekwini, we're coming. They can easily be like, Kaber, Ethel Trollop is there, Uzongen. Suddenly they're like, oh, we control 2 or 3 metros. The other thing about this is that the ANC, if you think about it, has not really complained a lot about the Action SA and how it's running Tshwane. If you think about it. So the Action SA, I mean, the ANC has probably said to themselves, yeah, no, this thing is working with Unasipi, with the mayor. This thing's working. And when that thing starts working, credible people will come out to the top because the key thing why there's a deficit in South Africa is because people who are capable and able and willing to do things don't have an outlet into our current political system. If you wanted to be a servant of the people at local government, you've done 55 years, you've made your guap, your grand, you stay in you stay in the east somewhere, Bedford View, whatnot, maybe not Bedford, but like in those areas, and you're like, I want to offer my services for the next 10 years to local gov. Grand, right? Hey, I could probably run to be a councillor. Those are the type of things that you want. That's the civic action that you need. But because of the party-based system, and I guess now you can say that individuals can go in, but the party-based system still, the ones where people caucus around are still the ones that are ruling and have the most amount of seats at local councils. And they still run things. So you need a vehicle for good, honest people to try and find their way in. The biggest problem that Helen Zille has is that ideologically she doesn't match with you, Solomzi, as much as you want the things that you want. And you know that by giving her your vote, you're good, you get your water. But then they start to consolidate all of these things that they have. And then ideologically, when you say the things that are happening in Gaza are bad, they say, what? Genocide? I mean, that's a crazy word. Why would you even use that? Then it's awkward. Then it's awkward.
True, yeah.
Then you are now conflicted. And you say, okay, I have water and whatnot. And that's the start. But then the bigger things becomes, in 2029, when they start to shift the cards again and they start to say to you, okay, the president might not come from these guys, but it needs to come from these guys. Then you start to say to yourself, okay, all of the issues that matter to you, the way that we dealt with the US issue, when everybody said, ayikho lithethwa ngabantu be-AfriForum, the way that we dealt with that issue, what if that issue was, what if someone else from the GNU was in charge there and they said, yeah, this is happening? How would you feel? So I'm saying to you, yes, there is a need to capacitate local government more than any other sphere of government because that's what directly affects people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Right? But you need avenues. So I'm saying to people, and this is just my opinion, that we need to capacitate more parties like and or similar to Action SA so that those parties can contest and offer young professionals and also capable people who have decided that they want to serve in this space. I had a conversation with someone. I said, what if I wanted to be to be in the race to run as the mayor of Mthatha or Monti? Now at this age, I'm 38. What if I decided I wanted to do that? You understand what I'm saying? What vehicle do I then use? Because you need infrastructure to win elections.
You do.
You understand what I'm saying? But infrastructure comes through structures that are already pre-funded.
Yeah.
So where are you going to get 15, 20, 30 million rand to try and run to be mayor of Mangaung as somebody who's a singular? You understand what I'm saying?
So you have to jump on a vehicle that's already moving.
100%. So these are the things. And then the vehicles got to say what their ideological standing is. So it's not so simple in South Africa that we think to ourselves, we can divorce ourselves from the ideology of politicians. It's important for us. That's why even in the GNU, how they met up, they were like, yo, we definitely got to take international relations because that's our posture to the world. That thing's got to definitely be there. So you've got to understand that there's a lot more at stake than it just being Joburg. But Joburg has to be fixed. And I don't think that the current guys are the ones that are going to do it.
It failed for
Thank you
years.
so much for your time, man.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
come
I just
to
have a
you.
question. I just have a question.
Yeah.
Can I go for it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Regarding Operation Tutula. Now, on my TikTok, I'm just flooded with a lot of the scenes of them like removing your illegal immigrants from the clinics. It's quite like hectic.
Yeah.
And my thing is, so what happens? Because I'm seeing this thing of with Tembisa Hospital, right? Like these monies. Now there's a focus on the bottom, like it's pushing this narrative of the problem is obviously the illegal immigrants, but there's also an issue up there with the people at the top stealing money. So what? And also, why is there? Because I'm seeing another group like starting to form. I think it's EFF or MK. Also, like they are working against these things. Like obviously they're against what Operation Tutula is doing. So what is going on? Why aren't you not seeing proper law enforcement coming in saying no? If it's not allowed, it should not be allowed. But it's like there's a silence. It's like people are just left to do what they want and there's nothing happening on top.
You know, Ghosty, I love that question because it goes fundamentally to the core of what South Africa has to fix. And what South Africa has to fix is the wording in our constitution.
Okay.
The wording in our constitution says all.
We live in it.
All.
Belong in it.
Other countries don't have constitutions that are vague. Our constitution is vague. And we don't have a problem in this country of legal immigrants. We have a problem of illegal immigrants. We don't have a problem in this country of legal immigrants. We have a problem of illegal immigrants.
Okay.
We don't hate foreigners.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
And that's why when this whole thing rises up, government is not fixing and not listening to the needs of the people on the ground. Then it offers the opportunity for people to twist the narrative whatever way they want to. You have an issue in this country where if these two things can be true at the same time, legally, constitutionally, currently, what is happening can be considered to be wrong. But then ask yourself, which other country on the continent offers free healthcare for everybody? Do you understand what I'm saying?
No.
We've got to then have our caucus as a country to say, no, say Tandi constitution or Asitandi, but we've got to have another. Let's have another sort of caucus around this thing, and let's have
How
proper
long will it take to
conversations.
fix that all?
I think it would take quite a bit, and it would take all of the people in parliament because you can change the constitution with, I think, a 2/3 majority.
Yeah.
But remember, I don't think it's in everyone's best interest because, again, there's another web that forms here. Who benefits from the people who come illegally over the country and offer services at cheaper rates because they're doing arbitrage? Money from South Africa must go somewhere else because it's looking after home because my country is not doing too well. Then there's the other conversation around what constitutes asylum in this country. The asylum process in this country is being absolutely hammered and abused. So these are core things. So when you look at the Dudula issue and versus EFF issue on the ground, there are legalese that make sense to those who want to take the legal high ground and say what they are doing is wrong. But then there are people on the ground who are saying, but Jongez is betwa ngomoya clinic. And then then you've got to compare these things and say, there's some of these clinics where some of these actions have taken place where people are saying, no, they're quiet now. People can go in and do their things. Then it says, is it wrong? Legally, probably it is. Because our highest constitution, our highest legal document says all.
Everybody deserves health care.
So why not change it to say all South African citizens? Then it would...
all who are legal. Because
No,
if I'm on a
That's
visa, if I'm on a visa, I'm working as a student,
but you're not,
I'm sick, I need to go to the clinic.
Yes, but you're not a South African citizen. That's fine. Then it begs the question to ask, why don't we have a private insurance, national, for the people who come into the country so that they pay? But then people will say, no, but you can make them pay at the hospitals. That's not the point. They're here illegally already. That's the first when you jump over, it's like when somebody jumps over your house, Soloms, and they jump into your
What I
fence.
must say.
The first thing is that they have...
Please jump over my house. I dare you. I live for such moments. I've been waiting.
The first thing is that they are trespassing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
bro.
first thing.
Fuck my
They're
house.
trespassing.
Now you must feed them.
When they break into your house...
Like, where's the camera? Oh, before pendulum. Let me get you something. Let me fix your plate. Let me fix your plate.
And then the second part is that they break into your house. That's a house breaking.
Yeah.
So legally, we have to understand that this thing, and this is what I was saying like earlier on, I was saying our issue as South Africans is that we civically don't understand what it takes to get things done. What it takes to get things done with this illegal immigrancy thing is that people who have to do what they have to do have to start to be accountable. The people of the border, if you want to change the situation of people coming in and out of the border, you have to put a wall. Secondly, you have to say, here are the numbers. If it's a national crisis and we agree that it's at crisis level, just like when the electricity wasn't there, it should say 10,000 people have come across the border. But they won't do that because it'll show that they're not doing their work. You understand what I'm saying? So we can't negate the feelings of the people on the ground. Because if they knew that every single person who is a foreigner who's walking past them is legally here and paying for their own life, health insurance and own things, then the person has got no recourse other than to hate why kick on Poboza. You understand? That's the only hate you could probably throw at the person. But we've got to address both sides of the coin. We've got a legal precedence that says, or a legal framework that says we can't because it says all people. That's my conversation here. I hear the noise. I'm saying we've got to fix that thing. That thing in the Constitution that says all people who live in it. No, homie, no other country on the continent does this.
And
Why
no
are
other
we the
country
only
can
ones
survive.
that are expected to look after abanye abantu to a degree that goes past being neighborly when our people are sick? So to the same people who are asking this question, I say, we don't have a problem with people who are here legally. This is core. People are bringing skills here. We don't have a problem with that. The likelihood is that those people have medical insurance and they go to private clinics. The issue here is the illegal people who go to our clinics. And you could say, no, but it's a small percentage. You are allowing illegality, but you want it to stop in certain instances. You need to figure it out in your mind. What do you want? Do you want us to leave some things because legally you feel like we should be taking care of abantu? Or do you want us to be babambe Madlanga commission? It's to say it's criminality. So where do you lie in this thing? Do you want us to be like, it's Ubuntu? Who's showing that same Ubuntu? If you were telling me that I could go to another country inside it and walk into a clinic and get treated to the same level that I will be in this country, then I'd say that's a reciprocity.
Yeah.
Round of applause for Mustafa. Mustafa for president.
I'm taking you all to the Union Building. Samba song is Union Building. Why you fuck about back?
Political ambitions.
I think
honest.
I think well, you get to a point where you want to change things and you realize that from the outside you might not be able to do the change that you want. But the problem is that you've got to go in there having enough runway, financial runway, that you can't be swayed easily.
So it's a yes, yeah. It's a yes. All right, now
But now we need to find a vehicle.
yeah, just needs to find a vehicle.
We know the vehicle has been pushing for now. Come on now, we know your vehicle.
My boy, no.
We know the vehicle.
No, the problem is that when you've seen a little bit of money and commercially and you're doing business and you're doing it well, you start to look at, do you know how much some mayors get paid, bro? It's like a bar 3, bar 4. Is that enough? I don't know. When you've got serious ambition, and then you've got to be in there. Yes, you can do a lot of change, but it changes the weather when maybe your net worth is 20, 30, 40, 50 M and you go there. Because then you are really going to do good.
But you need the money,
100%. And a lot of rural towns, they're suffering from the same thing. They suffer from the fact that the actual intellects and people who could run the things, they leave. Thus, Onolali will come in and be mayors.
What are you busy with, man? I know you said you're dropping a BE video. What else
today,
are you doing?
when I leave here, I'm going to go drop a BE video that it kind of puts into perspective the whole conversation around only 100 elites are getting BEE, are getting beneficiation from BEE.
Nice.
There's 873,000 other individuals based off the survey who are benefiting from this. So it kind of skews the narrative that only a few are. But obviously we're not saying BEE is correct and there's things that need to be fixed in order for it to stand. But we should also not be apologetic as people who knows that the past dispensation favored their people in order for them to become economically fine.
And you're traveling, where are you going now?
No, I'm gonna go to Durban this week, Cape Town. We're shooting some stuff with an SOE campaign where we're profiling what's happening in the country.
Nice, man. Shout out to Mustafa. Thank you so much for coming through, man. Before we go, gotta let you know, don't forget, we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Uncancelable. Have you read it, by the way? Do you have it?
Give me one.
Take that one. That one's for you. Yeah. So we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary on the 1st of November. And guess what's happening, Penduka?
Yeah.
Scoop Makatini is joining us. Yeah, we're gonna do a live interview, exclusive interview on the day.
Nice one.
For real.
Yeah, so he's gonna interview me about the book.
Oh,
nice one.
Beautiful. Shout out. That's beautiful,
So
man.
make sure you get your tickets right now
how do you
before
get
they
them?
sell out. It's the 1st of November at Victoria Yards. Tickets at Quicket. What are you reading at the moment, bro? Literature-wise.
I got given a book by Sizwe, so I'm reading Sizwe's book. I can't remember the title of it.
Both for Walsh.
Yeah, I'm both Walsh. Yeah,
Okay.
Nice.
I'm reading Sizwe's book. Yeah.
Dope. Yeah, so we're celebrating black literature, black arts.
Let's read,
It's gonna
man.
be dope,
Let's
man.
read, let's
Junior
read.
Kanye is gonna be there as well. He's got a book out.
Oh, shit.
So that's gonna be amazing.
dope.
Yeah.
We need to
Wait,
write
but
more.
it's
Yeah.
same guy you partnered with, right?
Yeah, Nick.
He writes writing.
Yes.
He loves writing. You wrote Teko's book as
Teko's
well.
book,
So I know he
yeah.
likes writing about football.
100%.
Oh, beautiful.
And lastly, Sean Ray from PNC has a comedy show coming up. It's called Come I Tell You. It's taking place in Joburg on the 3rd of October at Melrose Arch. Tickets are available at quicket.co.za, so don't miss out. That's all I gotta say. Other than that, we out here, man. Podcast and chill.
Peace out, yo.
Bye.
Peace out. Peace out, Medusa.
Beautiful. If you've made it this far, we really appreciate you guys. Make sure you support by subscribing, liking, sharing, and don't forget to